Hello, welcome to another edition of In the Metal. Each week, In the Metal takes you on a journey into the world of independent watchmaking. Every week, each time we visit another watchmaker in another part of the world and find out a little bit about their story and what makes them unique. And big goodness, each one of them is unique. So it's like in art, there are no two artists are the same. And so every week we have been fortunate enough to be joined by some of the absolute stars of the sector, and tonight is no exception. Our guest tonight is based. His workshops are based in Paris or near Paris, and he's a former industrial designer who had a penchant for creating his own watches, and he's started his company in 2015 and has had incredible success, including a very hectic week this week when he has just launched his latest watch. And we are going to have a look at that, as well as find out a little bit about the history of the journey so far for our guest tonight, Monsieur Armand Billard. And of course, I could not do this on my own because he would be mad if I did. So let's cross over to Texas, and specifically Gun Barrel City, where we should be joined by Mr. Dan Spitz. Good afternoon, evening, morning.
What's going on there, Johnny boy?
Hey, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good, man. It's beautiful and sunny, and I'm glad to be here once again. Starting to load in some of my equipment, unbox some stuff behind me. Finally, in the big machine room, and after 3.5 months of construction and expansion of my new workshops here, feels good to actually see some machines. And I'm just jonesing to get back to my bench, my man. If you've been following along, you know. If you don't, I moved to Gun Barrel City, Texas, and that's where my new workshop is. Not too far from the War Step School here. So that's where we're at, and I'm excited to have Armand on tonight and further our discussions and spreading the disease of independent watchmaking to all who wants to be infected.
Sure. Very considerate of War Step to set up so close to you. I thought, so
yeah. No, it's a great school, and it's under the Richmond after sales service. Yeah, massive center for the United States. It's literally right half an hour or so here from the shop. So hope to have some of those students come over and visit whenever they want.
Amazing. And thank you everyone who have joined us again this evening. And it is brilliant to have so many familiar faces and people's names coming back to see us again. Hey, we're approaching 1 year, Dan. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
That's where is that going?
Getting grayer.
In a blur.
Yeah, it's just getting grayer every year, man.
Let's not talk aesthetics here, right? I'm going to be audition for the stylistics if this keeps going on.
All right, so let's talk about Armand. He's once again, independent watchmaking. It's a wide variety of people, and it's wonderful to hear their struggles, their stories, their perseverance, their to overcome what was, what is, and to keep pushing forward with new timepieces and business models and all the different people from independent watchmaking. It's vast. It's not just a lone, insane, crazy watchmaker like me stuck with crazy machines. There's all kinds of stories out there, and it's really beautiful. And that's what we've come to, I think, after a year, Johnny, that even me and you discovered, because many of these people, I don't know if you are tuned in tonight or maybe at a later date, many of the people that me and Johnny have on here, and Johnny's managed to pull out, some of them have never, ever done a video interview or wanted to, or struggled with the English language. They didn't want to. They felt embarrassed even, right? These are some of the legends who are embarrassed, let's say. And we managed to get them on this special little show. to give information to young watchmakers, to give information to all watchmakers, to give information to collectors, to understand us and our humanness, that we are artists, right, Johnny? We're all just artists. And
absolutely. If you've got a creative streak at all, you're in that kind of category where you're unique. Your designs are unique. Your thoughts, the way you see things are unique. And listen, before we go to Armand, and what about yourself? How you moved into your new place in Gun Barrel City?
Mm-hmm.
How are you getting on there? You got your as you say, you got your boxes unpacked and your
no, we're just starting to unpack and set up the machines. I have more space here. There's a huge machine room, so I'm able to acquire some larger machines that I've always wanted to.
Looks absolutely fantastic. Those lights are so cool.
Yeah, those are a find, man. They look like helmets from some alien space movie or something, man. I love that. And there's another set on the other side. Once I'm all moved in and whatnot, we'll do some kind of a tour or something. It's a kick-ass space. This is the clean room and assembly, and it's kicks ass.
Superb. It looks awesome. Right, we've kept our guest waiting long enough tonight, and so straight over to France and Armand Billard. Bonsoir.
Good evening. Good day.
Armand, my man.
I'm absolutely thrilled to be there. Thank you very much for the invitation, Johnny. Thank you, Dan, for being. Yeah, man, I'm absolutely happy to be there. Welcome to the French countryside, as I said. We took a couple of days off. So I'm in the garden. As I said earlier, the only one who can find me there, it's not the kids. I've been wandering far enough from them. Probably the dog will find me at one stage, and hopefully no wild pigs.
Oh, man, it's absolutely fantastic. Well, first of all, thanks for coming on and all that kind of stuff. And we all greatly appreciate you, not just me and Johnny, but the collectors, the young watchmakers, and just everyone who's interested in independent watchmaking. Thank you. See, everybody, see to the lengths we go. He's sitting in the middle of the freaking forest, right? I mean, we'll do anything to spread the disease, right? And tell our story.
Actually, we're interrupting your vacation, yeah? So you've taken a few days off. But it's kind of relaxing. Vacations, I'm never doing nothing. I'm the kind of guy, I can't lay down close to any beach or pool and doing nothing. This is not my time. So I'm spending time with my kids and my wife, of course, but also taking a lot of time to think, sketching, writing stuff, thinking about the future, which you'd never barely have time during the normal days of the year because you're just like heads on. So yeah, it's a very relaxing but also thoughtful holidays. Love this. You need time to chill out and just to focus on what's important and what's next and how you're going to manage the next 2, maybe 3 years. Which we'll come to in a moment. And because one of the things that makes you unique, Armand, is that your approach to getting onto into the industry has been, you're not formally trained as a watchmaker.
No.
So but you had so many visions as an industrial designer. It really shows in your work. But I'm hoping that you might be able to explain to people how over the last 5-6 years, Sartory Billard has started, survived, and now hopefully moving into a little bit of clearer where the future looks promising. For a small entrepreneurial businessman, designer, who is also an artisan, because you do all your own, up to now you've done all of your own dials and your own processes and things like that. Fantastic. I have already spoken more than I normally do in a whole show. I'll shut up. Down.
No, you pointed right. I mean, I'm not a watchmaker. I train here, so I prefer to say watch creator because I can't get the title from a watchmaker like Master Spitz. You have all the training and you're a master watchmaker, which I'm not. But I have this ambitious wish to create watches. And that started, yes, 5 years ago. I've been into watches for now 15 years. I could never be a collector because I don't have the wealth to be collecting, but I got very much interested into watches when in 2004, actually, I discovered in the Cartier boutique of the Champs-Élysées, I mean, this kind of a big cliche, the Santos 100, the watch. And that was like a big boom for me. That was I just realized that watchmaking could be incredible play ground within 16 square centimeter, and that opened something totally new for me. And as an industrial designer, I started to draw watches, and I started in 2015 to build my first watches, or have it built for me, because at this time I couldn't do anything on the watch. I could only draw a watch. I could, of course, I always did the technical studies of my watches because this is my training. I'm an industrial designer, so I know how to build things or to technically draw things. And so far it has been an amazing journey, because every year I could work on a new watch and try there, try here. And now I'm having a lot of fun doing this, and I can make a living out of this.
There you go. That's what I was just getting at. We've had a few people on our show, me and Johnny, and I know of many other people who were in similar situations, such as yourself. Not a situation where, hey, daddy, who's worth exuberant amounts of money, I just want to start a watch brand and go to Switzerland, have somebody make my watch for me. Those stories are unique into themselves, and they're everywhere, right? They usually don't survive. It's the person with the true passion, who's hunger, who literally quits his job and career because perhaps he's had enough, or he's seen a vision like, wow, this fits my skin way more, and we love those stories, and that's what I'm hearing from your voice. You walked in and it's like an epiphany. But some people, they can't take the 10 years or what it is just to go to school and then apprentice and whatnot and go down that pathway. Maybe they feel they're too old. Maybe they feel they're whatever their story is. They have kids. They're home. They can't disappear to Switzerland, but they make it happen. You're making it happen through that passion. So tell us all a little bit about just that transition. I mean, we got it. You walked into a store, you got hit, but you can't just go from drawing on a napkin, to making a product. You have some background. Thank goodness, right?
Yeah. I've been an industrial designer, and I had my own industrial consultancy agency. Since I've never been employed in my life except 2 years, and that was a kind of a key point. So I had an agency start after my school. So I was working alone as a freelancer. I had guys working with me. I made a 2 years break between 2005 and 2007, traveling around the world. So that was like a brilliant experience. And when I came back, I opened an agency and hired people. And we went. I had until 12 or 13 employees working for my design agency. But at one stage, I'm really a designer in the sense that I want to draw things and create things with my clients at this time. But as we grew, the company, you needed a manager. And I took this role of manager because I was the founder. And my job quite naturally went from a creative designer to a PowerPoint, Excel, invoice, tax manager, this kind of stuff. And that was not my passion. I lost kind of interest into what I was doing. I was not a designer anymore. I was an agency manager. Mm-hmm. And by luck, in 2014, I was approached by a big agency who proposed to take over mine. And I said, okay, that was just in time. So they employed me for 2 years. That was I'm 45 years old, so this was the only 2 years that I got like this paper at the end of the month, and somebody's paying for your income. Mm-hmm. And then I quit them, and that was the good point for me to jump into watchmaking. And that was quite a hard decision. I talked with my wife. I'd say, okay, I'm going to change totally career. we sold the agency. We have probably 2 years of family expenses ahead, and I need to make the most of these 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I worked.
You worked your ass off.
Crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've always been a very hard worker. When you own your agency or something, you have
Mm-hmm.
to be a hard worker. So I can pull 12 hours a day for
Mm-hmm.
months. But once I said, okay, now I'm changing career, I want to be in the watchmaking industry, I worked like 15 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm still working a lot. So you need to pull hours, and you need also a little bit of luck. I mean, yeah, you always need luck anyway.
It's a different kind of work though. I mean, it's you know, as you can see, I mean, as everyone can see now, you're in a freaking forest, right? And your wife has to be understanding that you're not just doing an interview. It's almost like rock and roll, right? When you got to do an interview, you got to do an interview, whatever it may be. That's part of business and all that. But your brain doesn't shut off in watchmaking because it's an art. It's art. It's not a job. It's
not a job.
It becomes part of all we are, just like music does. It's in us, and we live it. And it's the passion. The passion don't go away, bro. So get used to it, man. It gets worse.
Probably. No, it's yeah. When you have something with passion and you work with dedication and you work a lot, you don't even count the hours. You're not like, oh, I've been working too much this month. You said I've been working enough to do and to live with my passion. But I've been quite lucky that the last year and a half, the brand and the work that I've been doing has been recognized, and so that was just at a good time actually also. So this is why I'm talking a little bit about luck, because if this hadn't worked, I mean, I would be back on the job market like a designer. I mean, I would need an income every month to make enough for my family, and so. Yes, you need to work hard, and you need a good star above your head also.
Your story is just, it's killer, because there are other people, that many of them, in fact, I'm talking to one now who's literally going through an exact situation, had a wonderful career, has plenty of money, you know, to survive for a while, let's say. And he's, you know, just saying, he was saying to me, maybe I'm too old to go back to school for watchmaking. But he's not, you know, you're never too old. So he is trying to enroll in watchmaking, and he's doing, you know, that transition. So your story is very impactful for others. So just know that you're unique in you, but others have followed your path, and got out of whatever they were in and feel so much better in their skin later. Even if it is making less money and working more hours, it's really not work. It really is a passion of doing what you love.
Today, I earn less money than I used to earn 5 years ago when I was in my consultancy agency or by the bigger company that employed me. But that is not the point. I mean, you're never too old to do something. I mean, I had a talk with my best friend like 1 or 2 weeks ago, and I was talking about that he might change careers, do something. He's really into mountain climbing and stuff like this. And he said, no, I'm 45 years old now. For my retirement, this is the 15 last years of employment that will count for my retirement pensions. And I was like, if you think like this, my friend, this is not so good. I mean, you're really young, 45 years old. I mean, you can start a business at 50, 60, whatever. I mean, if your guts are speaking, if your passion is speaking, age is nothing.
I think the 45 is the new 28 anyway. We're healthier people. We're all working out now. We're not, you know, eating crap like we used to in the past generations. So I think all of us don't look our age, that take care of ourselves. And 45 it used to be too old to think about it. But in my grandfather's generation, you know, you usually had one job for your whole life when you got a good job, right? It was guaranteed, right? You were in a union or whatever it may be, right? Well, not my grandfather, he was a watchmaker, but that was his job, right? But most people, this past generation, they say it's seven jobs in your lifetime, right? Big, main, long. And now I think it's like, every 2 months for most people, right? You know, it's like, hey, I'm an internet star, and then tomorrow I'm a different kind of internet star, or whatever. You know, I'm an influencer. I mean, I don't know how long that influence is going to last, but it's going to last for a little while. It's not going to last your whole lifetime. So it's okay to change careers is my point, and feel good about yourself nowadays. Nobody should tell you you're too old. It should be the opposite. Somebody should be giving you incentive to do what feels good for you, because as humans, as we age, we change. You know, we have different passions. So if there is that opportunity to fall in and take a risk, do it. But someone like you, it is the good story again, because you have a family, and that's usually the blocker for most people. And you stepped out because seems like you had a huge entrepreneurial spirit beforehand, so you knew how to grasp things and get it done, man. This is killer.
You always have to, if you're in family or your partner, wife or man, whatever. I mean, you need to talk with them and say, okay, there is something that I would like to explore. Is that fine? And also, if my partner would have said, okay, no, this is not possible, I would have said back. I mean, when you're in a family, you're a team, so you need to take everything in consideration. But at the moment that my wife said, okay, we can take the risk for a couple of years and we'll see what happens. And now she's saying, okay, it seems that it's going to work. She's the kind of very prudent. How do you say this? That she wants to be secure. So she said, okay, we see 1 year after 1 year. But when I show her all the orders for the SBO5, which is going to give me 1 year and a half of work ahead. I mean, I can feel that she
it's coming round
the
the
stress,
idea.
relief,
It's just coming. It was the same in me. I was in a good business for many years, doing quite well at it. And one day I was coming home from a holiday, and I spotted a watch in a shop, and that's changed everything. So my wife, all the security, the business that we had been building over the years, and suddenly that was all out the window, and we were going again. No safety net, Dan, and still winging it somehow.
No, listen, again, I'll reiterate. There's some huge watchmakers now, independent watchmakers that have similar stories. They were working. As they're working somewhere, not enjoying their watchmaking because they are trained, someone say such as myself with good training, but they're not enjoying it because now it is a job. I don't know if people understand that. Oh, it's glamorous but really in Switzerland, you're sitting at a bench, and after about a year or so, it's just a job. You're doing pretty much the same thing every day. Yeah. So that's where independent watchmaking comes in. That's why me and Johnny are here to show that you don't have to have that type of situation. And I know a lot of those people they ate like shit. They lived like shit, but they saved that money in that watchmaking job and said, okay, that's it. Now I'm ready. I've been designing my main plate, and I got about 1.5 years worth of savings and a bunch of money to put into the basic equipment, and I'm going to limp out of the gate. I don't care what it takes to start my entrepreneurial, independent watchmaking business, but I'm going for it. And they have a wife and maybe a small child, and they say, let's just try it, right? We can always go backwards. You can always get a job here, like you just said. And that's what we're trying to talk to people such as yourself about, because we've spoken to a few others. I mean, those people have made it. I know who they are. They're making incredible watches that are just, it's human art, right? And there's other people who have branched into different areas of independent watchmaking. And I think it's incredible that you can express your art, make a good living, but people have to know you got to work your balls off, man. Seriously, you got to sit in the middle of a forest, being endangered by wild pigs could come and eat you.
Absolutely. I remember when I started, I sold a few watches on eBay, and was pleasantly surprised. Now, that was in the day when there was only ebay.com. There was no .co.uk, .fr, .de or anything like that. And so huge audience, and you could sell a watch confidently at no reserve auction and do okay. You weren't going to get rich, but you could do okay. And I can remember then deciding this is for me. And going about building my first website, then my second website, third website, fourth website, all for Chronolux, which I started around about 2004, 2005. Wow. And man, that was from I woke up in the morning until I went to bed at night. That was constant managing, building, developing, growing that inventory on that website. And so it's one of those things that when you love something like this, that's not work. You don't see that as work. You see it, yes, something that has to be done, but it's a pleasure to do. So
let's show some of Armand's stuff so if people have tuned in, they know.
Absolutely, yeah. Great idea.
What kind of kick-ass stuff he's making.
Yeah, well, here, I think, Armand, the best place to start, or a good place to start, is on the back of the week that you have just had, the launch of your 5th collection, Sartory Billard SB05.
I'm the best marketing guy for the name. I mean, this is incredible.
How do you come up with a name?
Like hours of brainstorming, consultancy agency, like for...
I guess. Brilliant. It's been a hell of a week for you. Yeah.
Yeah, that was absolutely crazy because so the SB05 couldn't happen with the SB04 before. The SB04 was dedicated and is, because it's still on the catalog, of course, dedicated to customization. So a customer would come and say, oh, I would like the name of my kids on the dial. I would like a certain stone. I would like this engraving. And I'm so much of a creative person that is the only way that I can really enjoy and express creativity. I would be very sad to do the same watch for 15 years. So with the SB04, that was a lot of fun, creating amazing watches, very personal watches. As I say, with the name of the keys, with something that the watch is so much personalized that it can never be sold away from the house. So the guy will own the watch and probably give it to the kids. They will like it or not, but so that was really, really exciting. And some clients were giving me a lot of advices for a different watch. So they would go for a smaller case. They would prefer a higher end movement and everything. And I started to design the first SB05 draft like 1 year ago, maybe a little bit less. That was probably before last summer. I made some very first sketches, send these to my customers and say, oh, I'm working in this kind of format, this kind of watch. And they gave me a lot of information of how the watch would be good for them. And because I'm absolutely certain of one thing, I have not the monopolistic thing about the taste. My taste is not yours, Dan, is not yours, Johnny. So I cannot say, I'm going to make a watch and this is one for all, keep it or leave it. No. So all the information, all the little tips that my customer would give me was something like to feed my design. And I reached a point that I knew exactly how the watch would look like. It would be a little bit smaller, so 38.5 millimeter. It had to be thin. It had to have the better movement inside. A small second, because that was also associated with a dress watch. And I had the very first design. And the story is this one. I already used to work with Complement for the salmon dials and the guilloche dial of my SB04 because I don't have any rosette machine and some lacquer stuff. I'm not good with them. So I was supplying my dials to them. And 4 months ago, something like this, I was talking with the head of Complement saying, oh, maybe I'm working on this watch. Can you help me to think about what I could make better on the design? Just getting advice. And Mr. Bouchat said to me, you know what, Armand, this product is really interesting. Maybe we could make the technical design for you. Because that was quite a complex watch. So I was working on the technical part myself, but there were like hard points I would hit. And I said, oh, probably you can do this. I mean, you're doing this for clients, but it's probably way beyond my financial reach. And you come back with an offer and I say, okay, all in, I'm paying this. So I paid myself the industrial and the technical design of the SB05, and I just realized that the knowledge of these guys, the knowledge of their engineers, of the technical drawers was incredible, and that pushed my design a step further. And I said, okay, well, you're going to make the design, so I will need all the 3D reviews, 2D technical drawings, so I can have my what a case maker in the Jura Suisse have to make them. And he say, do you know that we have a sister company that is making cases for our owner? You know the owner? And he said, oh, no way. I mean, I can't afford this. I said, let's give you a proposal. And they made a proposal that was cheap. But it is not cheap at all. But when I talked with the guys, I said, okay, my decision is taken. The technical drawing has to be made by Comblemine, and the engineering and the case making would be made by Voutilainen and Catin company. The level of these guys is incredible. They take very few subcontractors or other companies to work with. I was so happy that they accepted to make parts for me and make cases for me. It's a big honor, and I thank them for this. But the result is just incredible, way beyond my expectations. And when I presented this to my clients and customers of the SBO4, and the story is very funny because that was 20th of March. That was a Friday 2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago, I can't remember. And I said, okay, I planned the official release for the SBO5 on March 26th. But I thought in the Friday morning of the 20th, okay, maybe I'm going to present this design to my 120 customers and see how they react. And maybe I can secure a couple of orders. In the afternoon, that was 3 p.m., I said, oh, maybe I just put a PayPal link in my website. If there is like a handful of guys who want to get SBO5 so they can make a deposit. So that was absolutely unplanned. I mean, a marketing disaster if you would ask to a consultancy agency. By the evening, I just sent an email and a WhatsApp group messages at 7 p.m. That was exactly at the moment that WhatsApp crashed for 1 hour, if you remember.
Yeah.
That was exactly at this moment. The phone never stopped for the whole evening. 25 SBO5 were reserved in 2 hours. By the end of the weekend, that was almost 40.
Wow.
That was just insane. Absolutely insane.
Absolutely incredible.
I spent the weekend on WhatsApp, sending messages, making images, sending technical information and everything. And I remember on the Monday morning, I called Comblemine and I said, you know what? I talk about you that I wanted to order 25 pieces from you. We are going to raise the bar to 50. And I was talking a little bit more, and I think maybe we're going to raise the bar a little bit higher. Let's wait until the launch, official launch on the 25th. And I thought, okay, I already started to make Excel file, the work plan for the next month. And I say, okay, I'm going to limit the offer on the 26th to 25 more watches. So it will keep me busy for a year and a half, something like this, probably. But I don't want to get a waiting list, a stupid waiting list for years. I hate this. And 2 days ago, all the 75 pieces were spoken for.
Wow, that's incredible.
Well, it's brilliant, and I think it's something that's we're starting to get used to this a little bit, Dan. That the demand for independent watchmaking is rising all the time, and it's been one of the phenomena of the pandemic is to see how small brands who don't rely on the high street or those expensive city centre shop windows, and whose business model is designed around direct sales to the customer, or working with people like Pietro, for example, Armand. And so it's been amazing to see. And so terrific results. Yeah, absolutely terrific.
Well, what's also very important to know is the expansion of people like Kari Voutilainen, who understood himself many years ago, back in the dark ages where it was cold and there was dinosaurs, when people like him and me, we couldn't buy crap. We couldn't buy 5 cases. We couldn't buy 25 cases, Armand. That's impossible. You're looking at, maybe we'll make you 500. We can't stop what we're doing. We're too busy. Sorry. We can't sell you movements unless you order, 1,000 movements.
That's crazy.
Okay. So Carrie stepped up to the plate, and if everyone is paying attention, Carrie has an incredible dial factory for guilloche. And of course it impacts me because I have now finally guilloche machines here in the United States, right here in Gun Barrel City, Texas. And he will produce small quantities to independent watchmakers, anyone in independence. And now he's branching out a bit into what Armand has just explained. You need cases too. And, that's what we need. That's what and now you're watching the story in real time, right? There was no, you were thinking, oh man, I can't afford that. Or I wouldn't even bother asking you because you wouldn't even think to make what I need. That's how we're programmed already, right, Rama? Yeah. And now we need more First of all, thank you, Carrie. But second of all, we need more carries. When someone does rise to the top, we do that in music as well. We help the people at the bottom, or what I'm doing here, helping some of the, hopefully some of the students that are coming through Woe Step, get on their way. We all need to give back, and it's just a great story to hear, man. You got the bug, right? Then there's got to be a way to do it, and it's not just drawing on a napkin. You're making it happen, and somehow you stumbled into an excellent situation, and now you're seeing how people operate at that level, and it blows your mind, right? But it's not just that. What I'm seeing from you, bro, is what everyone's watching and listening to what you just said is you learned so much from that experience to do the next one, right? Also from watching others from experience, don't take 100 orders. It sounds great, right? Oh, I got 100 watches, but now how am I going to produce that? I can't make something new for the next 5 years. That's not good for business, right? So you had to limit. You're smart, man. That's playing the game, your game of art, right? Artistic creation correctly, not the game of business, because sometimes that's bad business, right? But we can't. Things have to evolve and change. Again, we as humans change every few years. So you're going to want to express yourself differently. You would have been pigeonholed making 500 watches. That's not good.
No, this is not good. I prefer to go small and to take time. I want to be there in 20 years. I mean, if I were to make a business and to have a ton cash of money in 2 years, I would make things differently, and then I would disappear with all this. But I still want to be there in 20 years, making different watches. It's such a passion that I'm going to learn. Every year I'm going to make something different. There are watches that will stay forever in the catalog because they are too much fun of making. And every year I will work on something different, and I will always work on a very slow rhythm. 70Y watches is a lot for an independent watchmaker. It's absolutely nothing. It's probably minutes of production for a Rolex. But I'm sorry if some people wanted the SBO5 and now I have to say to them, I can't offer you a SBO5 now. We'll talk again in maybe 7 or 9 months when I see clear in the production, and then I can give you a time frame which is reasonable. So I prefer to say no now. They will come back even in 1 year and say, okay, now everything is smoothened up that you can have your SBO5 in 6 months' time. And I want to reach that point when I can make maybe 6-7 watches per month and go like this. I'm not running after numbers. I'm not running after a huge mass production thing. I'm just wishing to take some time with my customers and build something.
And there you go.
For them.
See, Armand, that's independent watchmaking. And that's what I want to present to all the people who don't understand it, who are maybe starting to understand it through what me and Johnny do here, is there's no bullshit. People want to be part of your art, right? Or my art, or what Johnny does. They want to be part of it. The guy in the middle creating a facade of fakeness doesn't work anymore. Well, it's not part of independent watchmaking. That's what separates all of us. There's no smoke and mirrors. There's no bullshit. It's your story, right? And they love your story, man. You have a background in don't do shit wrong, make a beautiful presentation, don't let it out until it's there. It's got to be perfect, right? And then all you did was send out like a freaking email of like a glimpse of a picture, and all the orders started coming in. And you're like, what the hell, man? That's not possible. I shouldn't even have sent that out, right? But no, man. That's independent watchmaking. That's what watchmakers' feeds such as mine are about. It's like, dude, I got a new machine. Here's what it looks like when it arrives. It's just a piece of crap. But watch what I do to it, right? And then watch that machine make the shit that my hands make, right? That's human nature. That's really, there's no smoke and mirrors, right? There's no hiding anything. Yeah. And that's the beauty of independence, man.
I think you're absolutely right. It's no smoking mirrors. It's no lie. And it's also not taking credit for what you're not doing. Mm-hmm. I hear this too much in watchmaking, with everything done in-house. And then you just pull the curtain a little bit and say, but this you don't make in-house, this you buy there, and but you say everything is made in-house. Oh yeah, because, so I can't. I mean, I'm working today in a 25 square meter workshop that Pietro has visited. I will hopefully by this summer or later the summer having a 50 square meter workshop. But it's a small place. I'm working alone, so of course I can't do everything by hand myself. But I'm very honest, saying this is made by this guy. This is made by this guy. This I do. This I do. This I don't do, but I make the finishes on this, and this. I'm making the assembly, and I think that it's more transparency for the customer. It's more honesty, and when they have a watch, they can say, with every watch that I sell, I send a little note. It's very basic. There is no fancy catalog, something. It's just a letter saying, okay, I'm very happy that you own Sartory Billard. These are made. This guy made this. This guy made this. This guy, even for the clothes that my watches are wrapped in, it's like a pocket, a square pocket you make in a costume. I said, this is the Atelier Boivin in Paris. They are making this for me. So I'm naming every guy who lay hand on the part of the watch. And I'm taking credit for what I'm doing, but I'm not taking credit for what I'm not doing. And I think that the customers, they're very happy with this, and they know the value for this. And I'm cutting out all the stupid expenses. So I'm sorry that my customers don't find any fancy booklet or this huge box, opening with 3 leads inside before you find the watch. No, it's just it's a watch box that you can use as a pen box. And I say, okay, probably it's a better idea to use this for store your pens or give it to your kid. He will be happy with a very nice box. And this is made, and the watch comes in a very simple way. But every euro that the customer spent on the watch, you can say, oh, this is worth this is worth this is okay, I'm fine. So
that's great.
Well, listen, okay, so SB05, we're going to talk about it first. So let us take us through a few of the details about it. So the first one I showed there, Armand, is the blue mix.
Yeah, and it's a blue mix. Yeah, actually. The outside dial is polished titanium, which is, I love titanium. And I've been working for 1 year now. I have a lot with titanium. Making polishing brush, hammering, and most of it now I can get the color quite right for oxidation of the titanium. And so this watch has an outside ring made of polished titanium. The inside ring under the hour end is blue guilloche, and the second hand is blue aventurine. It's not a client's watch. This is just a design that shows everything that can be done with the watch. And you probably have different renderings where the numbers are different, or where you would use stone there and titanium here. I constructed this design with many different parts. So you have the hour ring, the hour dial, which is here represented in guilloche. You can have stones, you can have everything you want. Same for the second dial. and same for the minute dial. And the hands, the hour hand and the minute hand, are made in two parts that I will do all the polishing and all the finishing on this and heat it to blue. But it can be left natural, it can be golden, or it can be even painted if a client wants, I don't know, beige color or whatever. So all the watch is really conceived as a puzzle that I will work with my customer. Because as I said earlier, I don't have the monopolistic area of the taste. And so the taste of my customer is what I respect the most and what I want to push in front of me.
Yeah.
He has the taste, he has the exact knowledge of the watch that he wants. I'm the hands making the watch for him.
The hands are absolutely beautiful. The whole watch, it's a spectacular success, Armand. I think the whole package, the word holistic comes to mind, that it's everything complements everything else. And I was writing about it last week, and I was wondering, the numerals, is that a sapphire disc?
Yep.
It is a sapphire disc.
Yeah, it is a sapphire disc, because when I was starting on the watch design, I knew that some customers would want some very specific requests for the dies, and some stones or some titanium or some whatever cannot be stamped, or numbers above them can be a little bit tricky. So the solution that I came up with is to have a sapphire disc that goes around the mini track. It's just on the internal. It's treated and reflected on both sides. It will be absolutely invisible, and the numbers that are stamped on this. So there are also some design guidelines. So the uneven numbers are represented with little lines. You have this minute track outside, and the numbers can be changed to the wish of the customer. So here are European numbers, but you can have Arabic numbers. You can here are Arabic numbers. You can have Chinese, Indian, whatever. Even if a customer wants a name instead of numbers, I would make a different plate for pad printing and have it pad printed like this. So it's a watch that is very versatile, that can be absolutely designed by any customer. This is what I want. I want to embark my customer in the design process, in the design journey. I truly believe that everybody has a creative part inside of himself, but sometimes it's difficult to express. But I will take them by the hand, help them express their creativity, and I will make a watch for them. There are some design guidelines that every client's every customer has received a PDF file, which is 5 or 6 pages, and saying, okay, this you can change, this you can't change, because this is part of the SB05 design language. Now we can play with this. And also a big thing to compliment that has made like a fantastic work with the dial base plate. That is very flexible in its technical construction, that it can accept stones, guilloche, titanium, anything. So there is a lot of engineering.
Who's making the number plate, and how is that being done?
So the number plate for the first watches, I have this pad printing machine in my workshop, but I have not been working so much with this. So for the first series, I think Complemin will make the pad printing based on my design, and I've already booked with them some days of training in their workshop. So I would be able to take over this part at one stage. So I will make the watches, and I will learn how to make parts that so far will be subcontracted. So that's also very interesting. That will be a learning process also for me.
I think that's another amazing facet to what Kari Voutilainen is doing with Voutilainen and Catin, with Complemin, that you can go and into the Complemin workshops, their ateliers, and learn how to do these things yourself. So this is game changing, Dan, because
I think this is also with the good relation that we have together. The hands are very expensive because they are cut in CNC. I will get them raw. But I said, okay, now the price of the hand is so expensive that if I crush a couple of them, that will be a pain in my ass. Sorry. So I said, okay, you have to learn me how to achieve this that I want for the polishing, for the bluing. I said, okay, no problem, come.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the goal for them is to make a business out of subcontracting watch parts, but they're also relying on the success of the watch that I will make. Because when I said to them, now we're talking about 75 watches, and so we are increasing the numbers of ordering, it's also very beneficial for them, and I'm really happy for this. This is also a reason why that I'm always pushing ahead of me my subcontractors. A healthy and a happy subcontractor is someone that you want to work with. Of course, there are basic rules. You have to be nice with them. You have to ask politely, and you have to pay them straight when the invoice comes. There are basic rules. A subcontractor is not the bank for you. Is making parts for you. But if you're making parts in a way that it's profitable for your business and profitable for their business, I mean, this is a win-win relation.
Yeah. So, but you've realized it's not so easy, you know, even though you can find someone perhaps to make you these incredible hands, you're thinking, again, wait a minute, I'm certainly going to mess some of these up. They're extremely expensive. I can't fix them, right? Let me learn some of these basic watchmaking techniques. And you're falling into the trap. You're going to end up in watchmaking school, maybe. You're falling into the monkey pit now, bro.
I've always been like this. I mean, I'm asking to people. When I see that somebody has a knowledge that I don't have and I want to get, I'm just asking, can you learn me? And if you and I ask politely, I have a friend, which is Philippe Narbel. He has a workshop in the
we know Philippe. He's a killer dude.
And that was 2 years ago. I was starting on this before the polishing of my hands and polishing of numbers, and that was crap. Actually, that was really bad. But So I knew Philippe a little bit. We met in Baselworld the year before. I knew what he was doing, and that was in July. In June, I called him. I said, Philippe, I'm hitting a wall now. I need to learn more to make better polishing on my hands and numbers. I said, would you be so keen to take like a 43 years old trainee in your workshop? And he said, you know what? It's July is coming. Have a bench that is free because the guy is taking holiday. You're coming for 1 week.
There you go.
And I made this with different guys, just asking, this I cannot make. Of course, you have to ask politely. You have to know the guy. But I'm certain that if somebody is asking you, I mean, why wouldn't you share the knowledge? I mean, I'm working like this. So it's beneficial to everybody because if you own, let's say, if you own, if you are Rolex or if you are Omega, of course you want, and if you are a normal guy that will buy one very nice watch in his whole life, you have to be in a fierce competition. So if Rolex got the wrist of the one watch in a lifetime guy, Omega doesn't have it. So they have in a furious competition together. But in the independent watchmaking, if a guy is owning a Sartory Billard watch, he probably owns a Dan Spitz watch. He will probably own, I don't know, McGonigal watch in 1 year. I already have one for 2 years. So it's like I'm doing something, I'm sharing knowledge, but I'm working not in competition really with my others. No. I don't feel the competition with the others.
No competition. That's why this room I'm in here, and of course the bigger machine. This has going to have extra benches here for people to come, whatever it may be. Maybe they they're in the United States. They want to use my straight line guilloche machine. Maybe they don't have a jig bore. Maybe they don't have this. They don't need to maybe learn something, but maybe this watchmaker or this person is starting a company such as yourself and just needs to see something or work for a few days, whatever that may be. We all have to give back, man. It's just the way it is. And you're not taking anything away from me because in independent watchmaking, it's different. My timepiece or your timepiece is my timepiece is your timepiece. You can't cop my gig, bro. It's like,
Yep.
you can't steal my song, man. I wrote it. You know, you can try and play it. I can try to play a song by Van Halen, but yeah, I can cop his riffs and play it. I'm pretty proficient. I'm not a bad hack at guitar, but I ain't Van Halen, and I can plug into his amp. I'm not going to sound like him. Yeah. It's going to sound a little like him, but I ain't going to be him. And that is why I love independent watchmaking, why I always correlate when me and Johnny do these shows of the correlation between my past music, thrash metal, and independent watchmaking, not corporate watchmaking. Independent, because what you're, as a collector, what you're purchasing from us is us. You can't keep having copy. So give the guy a bench. If you need help, dude, there's a bench here for you as well. Hack away, whatever you want to hack away here too. But you know, everybody's got to know that there's all different facets of independent watchmaking. You know, there's your story, and we're all different. It's, what's really funny, what I find funny, is even the dudes that go to school like me, and you look at our workshops now that you get to see inside the secrecy that used to be so freaking secret when I was growing up and a little watchmaking kid. You know, you'll see similar machines, you'll see some of the same machines, but you'll see us all doing it a different way. Why is that? You know why? Because when it comes to make our own timepiece, not just doing vintage repairs, which was my specialty and all that, you know, that's more of a pattern. You know, when we're doing our own, we find our own creative ways to do that shit.
Yeah, absolutely. So there is no I heard like an interview 2 weeks ago from Romain Jérôme. I think that was him. Oh, whatever. This brilliant Swiss watchmaker, and he used to have this very specific CNC machine, and another competitor knew that he owns this machine, and he asked to the maker of this machine, "We want exactly the same machine and the same setup, so we will make the same pieces that this guy." They could never make it work. Because, I mean, you can have the same, we all have the same tools, but there is something that the way we are doing this, you're always having your little twist, your little touch, and this is part of the spirit, this is part of the recognition of your watch. And the offer is so vast, so awesome. So sometimes a guy would say, "Oh, but your watch looks like a little bit like this, or looks like a little bit like that." I say, yes, maybe actually they're all round. They all have like a couple of hands, so probably they will kind of there is like a similarity. But the way they are doing this, the way I'm doing this, I think it's a totally different path, and there is no point to feel competition.
It's not even just the watch. It's what you said before, right, Johnny? Like you said, Philip Nobel, like he's an expert in finishing, right? Isn't it freaky to watch? Have you ever just investigated some of the other people that just do finishing? They're still using similar, just their hand tools, but those watches they do are different than the other dudes. Just finishing, not even making the watch, the hands, the dials, just anglage, the anglage. It's human. My watch, it's going to represent me. If I want it to look like a scrappy kind of watch, whatever it's going to be, that's what comes out of me. You can't say it's good, it's bad, it's this or that. It's me. If you don't like it, don't like it.
And I love in the watchmaking, the more, not extreme, but the more personal the work is, the more I like it. You probably know Yvan Arpa and the Artia watches.
Yes,
I love the watches, and they're crazy. One of my it's not it's kind of a link for music, but you know Sound of Sound, the watch from Artia, with this looks like the head of a Gibson sort of.
Yes, something like I probably should have made.
The watch is crazy, but I just love this watch, and it's really extreme. It's very personal. So I love when the watches are absolutely personal. They can be very classic, but there is a personal approach. I don't mean by personal make a watch in the shape of a bloody triangle or weird stuff. No, just make it your own way with your own gut, your own touch. It's like art. You can paint a landscape. You can have 10 person painting the same landscape. You will recognize the landscape, but everyone will have a different touch. And this is what is beautiful in independent watchmaking.
For sure. Listen, before we move on from SB05, I wanted to talk because you upped the stakes with the movement as well. And I'm mentioning this because Barbara has asked a question, and we will come to that, Barbara, because we're going to go backwards and take a little walk through the story so far. So, but just while we're still on SP05, the La Joux Perret.
Yeah.
So
very nice movement. Absolutely
beautiful.
Thrilled to work with these guys. I was looking for a small second movement, and of course the first and reasonable choice would be Unitas movement. There are tons in available, but I found them too big, too thick, and they have been everywhere for decades. They are very nice if you take them apart and you work them in a totally different way. But I'm not a watchmaker, and working on a movement is a little bit scary for me. So I found the La Joux Perret and its movement, which is the reference 3380, and I take it as it comes. I don't make any major modification on the movement, just the finishing. So I went for a circular brush on the main bridges, because that is a circular brush is kind of thing that I've been doing a lot of on titanium dies, and it looks really great. And for the last bridge, I chose a sandblasting finish, which brings quite of a modern look. And once again, I go all in when it's about my subcontractor. So the name of La Joux Perret is there. I'm not hiding behind, oh no, this is my own in-house caliber. You know, we heard this, I think, a little bit too much. And the movement is beautiful. It's 30 millimeter wide, 2.5 or 7, I guess, thick.
Yeah.
So it makes a very, very thin watch. It's the watch is 8.4 millimeter just before the glass, and the glass protrudes of maybe 2.2 or 0.3 millimeter. So it's quite a thin watch at the end.
All in all, a beautifully packaged piece with including in every aspect, the case, the dials, the hands, the movement. It's it is a real alternative. That this is a watch that would make, if someone's going out to buy an Omega or a Tag or an entry-level Rolex or many other brands, this is a real a watch to make you stop and think about what you're spending your money on.
And again, for the collectors who are tuned in here, La Joux Perret was, as far as I'm concerned, the first independent watch movement provider to any of us way back. Again, we're flying back in the dark ages because I'm that old and I got gray hair on my face. And I can tell you from experience that I've been there. I've been to La Joux Perret. They were designing movement when I was working with Corum, who wanted to produce a timepiece for me. And, you know, they started again. It's like a little dude in his garage, you know, who had a dream, and going against all these big monolith Swiss companies who did not want that little independent guy to feed anybody. Because if you feed the bottom, okay, just like in thrash metal and music, if you feed the guys with attitude and perseverance and a fuck you kind of attitude, we're gonna get there, and we're gonna make an impact. And look, you know, that's where we are now. I really want to give props to everyone at La Joux Perret, because they helped all of us. And in the end, of course, you know, they provided movements for some of the largest companies in the world. I mean, they provide for Panerai, for everybody, right, in the end. But they did breakthrough technologies as well. So in complications, it's not just about telling time for us back then. There was a hunger for producing complications that couldn't be produced previous to CNC. And they were inventing all the time. And I remember being there. He was like petting one of his new CNC machines and going, instead of a Ferrari, I bought this. You know, and that's but the same hunger, right, Armand, me and you have, that Johnny has for the industry that they had. So I want to keep giving props to them. Just sorry to sidetrack.
The
great choice. Great choice.
That was great. That is great to work for them. They've been really carefully listening to what I wanted. And also, this movement is not seen so many times around. It's quite of a low-key movement. I don't know why watch creators don't get this movement more often. Now I see a very often movement from two companies with a micro rotor. It's a
Mhm.
very nice movement, but it seems to me that you see this movement too often. And I like also that this 70 to 80, 7380 from La Jouperet is not very, it's a little bit low key movement. I like the design of everything. I like also the fact that it has a huge power reserve that is
Mhm.
close to 90 hours. I like everything of it. It's wide. It's 30 millimeters, so um, it feels big in the watch in the back case. No,
Yeah.
it's everything
It's
is good. And
excellent.
the only little twist that I made on the movement is on the top right corner of the image. I added a little plate that will have either the name of the owner of the watch or a quote that he wants there. So it's a little bit of
Personalization.
personalization,
Mhm.
yeah, on top of the movement without having to engrave it, without having to strip the movement down. Because, of course, you can do this, but everything has a cost. And I surely didn't want to go too high on price. I think also the success of the watch is also based on the price that it's reasonably priced. It's expensive watch. It starts around 6,400 euro for steel case, and the watch will be priced on all the options that the customers wishes. So if he wants like a stone and guilloche, etc. So I have an Excel sheet and a spreadsheet, and I said, okay, if you want this is 200 more. If you want this is 500 more. So it's yeah, that
Yeah.
was a way to keep the final price as tight as possible for the customers.
Brilliant. How
Brilliant. It's
about
great.
we go back over the story of Sartory Billard to how you've got to the point of SB05. So I have a lot of images. So let's maybe the next 15 minutes or so we'll look at the start of the story and also answer Barbara's question was what made you change direction from the SB 1, 2, 3 to number 4, where you were starting creating bespoke pieces. We'll come to that in a minute. So let's start off. Quite a striking watch from the outset. The
SB01.
SB01.
Yeah.
With this,
That was the watch that started all. At this time, I had a partner. So Sartory Billard, okay, I'm Armand Billard, and Sartory is the other. It's a friend that I started the company with, and I took over the share last year.
okay,
Because my friend has a work like daily job in IT, and I had too much of a passion for watchmaking, so
yeah,
I decided just to take over and to continue the road on myself. But this watch was quite of a nonsense because that was a very egoistic watch, and because I couldn't do any part myself, I came with a technical drawing to a French company that is making prototypes. They are in the French Alps, close to the Switzerland, and I gave them a technical drawing, and they make the watch for this. And everything started from there. We wanted with my friend only to make two watches for us, but quite quickly, when it came to accounting, I said, okay, maybe we should make a company around this, just having the to play with the VAT and to make ordering of 10 cases instead of 2, that will be the same price. And
mm,
actually, we sold something around, I don't know, 25, 30 of them over 2 years,
amazing.
something like this. That was amazing. But this is a very bizarre watch. It's very big. It's 46 millimeter. The case has a shape like a donut. Actually, the logo.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, this was going to say it because that image actually doesn't tell the whole story about
No,
SB01, but this
the
does.
case is, yes. Okay.
Yes. It is
So yeah, the case
absolutely
is like
abstract.
a donut. It's curved in both direction, and it already started. I had already an interest for personalization. So the ring that you see inside could be in 4 different colors, and that was the start. Yeah. So this is the rings in they are made in aluminum. So I would have them done in red, in blue, in gray, or in green. And that was the very beginning. But I made all the technical drawings. Hopefully, it worked. but I couldn't fit any hand myself. So I had it done for me by a watchmaker in Paris. He was making the assembly for me. But that gave me the sense that personalization is something that the customers are looking for. And that led me to the SBO2, if you have an image, maybe.
Oh, I have indeed. SBO2.
SBO2. So quite a different watch with the personalization that was very flexible and made for the customer, that he would unscrew the 4 screws that is outside of the watch and change the bezels.
So here we see 2 bezels.
Engraved one. They were made in steel or in titanium or in brass, and I would have made them engraved. I would have them blued. I would have them painted. So that was the very beginning of the watch. That was a very affordable watch because I looked forward to. I looked to Asia to have the watch made for me, which is not a secret. So that was made in Asia, everything based on my technical drawings, and all the assembly was made in France. And I would do myself or the personalization on the work, or the work on the bezels outside. That was quite a nice watch, but because I had this order in Asia, I had to order 300 of them, and it took me over 2.5 years to solve them, and it shows me that was not the business model I wanted to do. I wanted to go deeper in the watchmaking, and I wanted to work on the part, because often clients will say, "Oh, I like this, but can I change the dial? Can I change the hands?" And I would say, "No, it's not possible. Everything is fixed. I have to play with the parts that I have." And so that gave me the impulse to create USB03. That was the first watch that I could really lay my hands on, working on the hands, working on the dials, and then exploring the subcontracting with artisans that would make the guilloche. That was not a compliment. That was a guy in Belgium who was making this for me at this time. And I started to make hands myself. So with this model that had a very, very short lifetime, only for a few months, I could really experiment and work on parts that I would do myself. And that gave me the impulse for the SBO4. And the SBO4 was really, I think, a turning point in my story, because that was the watch that first of all, the design of the SBO4 was much more conservative. The coussin shape of the SBO3 was not suitable for everybody, so the SBO4 is a round case. And then I designed the watch and make all the technical parts, so everything is really flexible on the dial side. So I could change the hands, I could change their shape. I bought a laser myself, so I can cut the hands myself, cut the numbers myself. They are in metal applied above the dials, and I started to work with titanium.
That's what I was asking you previously when I had asked you about the numbers, and then we spoke about you going to Cary and learning a little bit of dial printing. What I was actually asking about was the running track around. So it seems like you bought a laser machine, learned how to use it, and you're cutting the number track in-house, right?
Yes. This is the very, very big advantage on the SBO4. It's quite an affordable watch. It starts around 2,800 euro, and you can have like a limitless personalization. So this is the watch that the clients would want to have with the name of the kids instead of the numbers. You would have Indian numbers, Arabic numbers. Because I'm making all the visible parts on the dial side myself, I could play around a lot. And
so what you're getting at is, as long as you can now learn to make hands, right, and learn from a good watchmaker, you'll be making all the parts, the dial, the number track, the hands, yourself.
Yeah, exactly. I'm making all the titanium dies myself. If they are guilloche, this is where I started the relationship with Complemin. And for the stone dies, I'm working with this German company, which is called Gros und Rip. They're supplying stone dials for all the watch industry. Quite a discreet company, but the owner, the wife, which is a third generation company. She's the member from the GPHG award, so they are really recognized in this area. Fortunately, they live 1 hour and a half from my home, so I can visit them. And so the SBO4 is a watch that is really cool to have. It's very versatile. I'm having a lot of fun creating the watches.
I found it killer that you learned how to use the laser and all that to do that. I mean, that's not easy, bro. It takes a very long time.
That was quite an investment. I bought this laser almost, I don't know, 8,000 euro, and it was 2 years ago. And when I made the transfer to buy the laser, I was like, am I doing something stupid? but hopefully that changed the whole game for me. I mean, because I'm a designer, I could make the numbers and everything the client would. I just had to cut it and to make all the finishes myself, and here we go.
You're not reliant on a third party. You can exhale, right?
Yeah,
absolutely. I can't believe it. Night has fallen.
Yeah.
Night
you get eaten by wild bears and all kinds of stuff.
Probably. The sun
It's
has gone behind the hill above me, just in front of me, so now I'm all dark.
It's okay, my man. It's okay. It's cool. But I couldn't believe that when I went back to you.
Yeah, it's like, whoop.
What happened? Oh, here it was. Right, yeah.
If I put it like
this. Hey, there's one dial there that I noticed on the SBO3, as you say, short-lived, but that's a heck of a dial.
Yeah, that was very funny watch to make. But for example, these dials with the laser and the numbers, I had them cut by a laser cutter company, so they would supply me this laser. But I thought that I couldn't have only 2 or 3 dials and make everything with, so I had to go this extra length and to buy myself a laser so I can make the dials that the customers wanted.
Yeah. No, it stood out to me when I was going through all the images today that we were going to be using. So, but that's your métier, really, isn't it? Like, the diversity of in your dials, the options, the configurations that people are able. This is it, Dan. People are able to buy a watch that is unique to themselves, that is manufactured by and hand finished by an artisan who is specializing in the beauty of the dials and the different materials that you can use. You can experiment. And also, I think the point that I made when I was promoting earlier was that this is accessible, because independent watchmaking is pretty usually, the entry level is quite high. And here we are, you're one of a watchmaker who is, your watches are accessible. They're not fantasy. They're very real. And
yes, I'm trying to keep my. I'm working alone. The rental for my workshop is limited. I don't have any interest of driving a sports car, so I prefer to sell watches, to have a smaller margin, than to expect to have a crazy high margin and to have a safe full of unsold watches. I mean, that sounds quite normal, I would say. So this is why I calculated my margin to be enough so I can make a living. I can run my business. I can even make investments. But this is how I make it. And also the fact that I'm not working with any retailer. Pietro being an exception, but we have a special deal. Can
you explain? I know you're in the dark now, but can you explain a little bit of your business model of how you found and how you find and who and serving your customers? Are you utilizing social media to your fullest extent? Is it a forum that you find the greatest area of your customers and presenting your creativity to the world?
Actually, the only media I'm working with is Instagram, because I found there like all the collectors out there, and it's very very easy to work there. The language is English, and everybody is getting there. So it's better to be performant in one social media than to try to be good in 10 of them. So for 1 year and a half now, I only focus on Instagram. I post I post one image per day of one work that I'm doing in my workshop per day, and it's getting there slowly by slowly. Once again, it's a marathon. It's not a speed race for 2 months. So it's months after months.
Yeah,
Great.
I'm just trying to walk to a clearer area.
Go ahead, no problem at all.
Yeah.
So
it's the Loch Ness monster.
you have the first walking through interview.
Absolutely, yeah, it is. Yes.
No, it's actually really cool.
Yeah, it's fashionable. Go for a walk through the French countryside.
You know,
if I fell down, it would be funny, and we have like kind of a.
That's awesome.
No, yeah, fine now.
Yeah. No, never worry. Never worry. We're good. We're good. We're good. But
you know, Armand, you might have said that you don't invest in sports cars, but you do. You invested in a laser machine. You know, and
yes,
most people wouldn't take that risk. You know, and that's what we try to show people, that sometimes you got to just go for it. And I do remember, as a young child, getting into watchmaking real serious, and you start to buy, tools, and it's a really freaky thing. It's try to explain it. Like, it's worse than a laser machine, dude. Like, you'll spend all kinds of crazy money, and you're waiting, and the postman brings you this thing, and it's like this big, and then you open it, and it's this big, and then it's like one of those Russian doll things, it keeps getting smaller and smaller, and you're like, holy crap, man, I paid that much money for that little pin, it's like the pit, right? And it's hard to explain to other people because they think you're out of your mind. But we it's the tools that help us. That's what I was actually saying earlier, that you'll see a lot of the same tools, and then you'll see a lot of different tools, and even if they are the same tools, we use them and we shape them all differently to create our art, and that's our independence. That's what makes us human. It's no different than me when I was playing guitar. It's the same company perhaps making a guitar for me or making a guitar for someone else. My specifications to design that guitar and make it is for me. It's different. The shape of the back of the neck is for my hand. I have small little hands, right? They might be mighty and powerful, but they're small, right? So I have a different kind of guitar. I want different wood, but it looks the same. For the average person, they just think the average person actually they think a guitar player and a bass player, it's just guitar. And it's the same thing, right? It's kind of like that, but that guitar helps me to create my art. The next new guitar I get helped me to write a different song because it has a different tone to it, and it's the same with our tools.
And sometimes I don't know if you've been there, but when you start as a watchmaker, the first tool that you buy them wrong. I bought 2 years ago a Choblin 70, and I thought that I had a very good deal, and the deal was too good to be true, and I had to buy again every single part of the Choblin. So now it's running perfectly. But at the beginning, you find the tool good enough, you work with it, and then you say, oh, that's not a good tool, so you have to buy a second one and a third one. And all this money that you put into tools, it's my accountant went nuts 2 years ago when he said, like, you're spending so much in tools and stuff. What are you doing? He says, yes, but I bought this that was not good, so I had to buy a second one. I was like, what? Yes, but now the workshop is quite almost complete and set up. But for sure, my accountant will be nut again when I will buy some better tools in the next years. So I'm going to the point.
It's no different, Armand. You're learning, and that actually, when you do go to watchmaking school, that's, at least in Switzerland, that's a lot of what we do find is you go out to the marts and you bring your tools or your lathes or whatever you buy back to the school, and you're helped to understand and take them apart and realign them and get the beds re-scraped and understand what a proper functioning Javelin 70 would be like. Because when you find one that's been used for 60 years, even in Switzerland, it's not. It has to be reconditioned and brought back to life. But they last forever and ever and ever. And that's why you see pictures of all of us watchmakers, showing our tools. It's not like we're proud that we spent this kind of money on this tool. It's me in my tool. My machine's here. Yeah. They get here, they're a piece of shit. Right? They're beat and it's me. I'm restoring it. I don't, unless I get stuck. All my machines have been painstakingly restored for me. I'm doing 2 Guilloche machines right now. I mean, they've been through wars, but when they're done, they're me. That's what will differentiate my Guilloche from perhaps somebody else's. It's my machine. I know my machine, like you were saying earlier. Somebody else can sit on it. They're going to be lost, man, because I restore it.
Yeah, they wouldn't be able to use your machine also. So it's a very personal tool, which makes it very, very interesting, because the making and the buying of machines and everything is really part of the process. So it's a long road to build a workshop that is worth it.
But that's why I want the collectors who are watching this story about your walk, Armand, to understand it's not, you can't just have money and become an independent watch brand. This doesn't work like that. This really is like music. It's like guys getting together in a room and jamming and a certain sound comes out. Well, it's you, Armand, in a room with your kind of machines that you made for your dream, and that's what's coming out. And it can't be replicated, man. It just can't.
Exactly.
So listen, we're approaching the 90-minute mark. Anyway, we usually
wait. What about Barbara's question?
Barbara's question was about. Barbara asked, "What made you move to the new styles of the SB04 and SB05, and away from the original pieces that Barbara was able to see when she visited you in Basel?" And I think you explained that it was the costs of production and having other people create these. There was too much involvement of third parties, perhaps. I'm not going to take your words out of your mouth. So, what do you think?
The question is what did make me change the route from?
What made you change from what happened? Yes, what happened between SB03 and SB04 in the philosophy?
Just the desire to be more creative and to work for my customers. It's really the way that I wanted to create pieces that the customers are asking for, and not making a watch that I'm proposing for them, saying, okay, this is my watch. So that was just a desire to be the hands for the creativity of my customers. I just love so much creativity of the guys.
What they wanted, Wonderful. Barbara, thanks a million for your question. Thanks always for your support too. It really is. Is very proud of that. So one last question before Dan gets to ask the big question every week. And it's from Watches and Word, our friend in Germany. What is the object that you are most proud of it? Is it one of the past that you've already made, or one that's coming in the future? I know most watchmakers answer this
it's the same way. That will come. It has to be the next one.
Yep. That's very common. Very common answer.
Once again, for the creativity and the work that I have too many examples of unexpected phone call. I mean, just this morning, there was this group of watch collectors from Middle East that called me and saying, oh, we are thinking about a watch for our group. We have ideas and this and this, and the ideas are a little bit unusual. But every time that a customer comes and they say, oh, I have this unexpected idea, I'm all ears. And I'm saying, okay, let's do it. I mean, even if I don't know how to make it, I will find a way. So it's always...
Yeah, there you go. That's it right there. That's a perfect ending. Even if there isn't a way, I'll find a way.
Absolutely.
That's it. That's leaving up no barriers. That's smashing the barriers down. That's independent watchmaking, making someone else's dream come true, not just yours. And together, everyone is giving love. You know, you're giving love through your art, right? Through your independence to other people who are like, wow, how can I find someone that would make my dream, you know, my timepiece for our club? You know, how do I find that person? Because I want it to be kick-ass. It's great, man.
I had the customers from United States a couple of weeks ago. He wrote me a very nice letter, an email. He received his watch, and he ended in the most heartwarming sentence. He said, "You build dreams," and that was just wow.
Great, right?
Yeah.
It's good to receive love, ain't it? It's freaking awesome, man.
Amazing.
All right, so I got to ask you the question that I ask everyone. As far as music goes, what were you brought up on? What kind of music did you listen to when you were young? And then do you listen to music while you work? What is it now? What, you know?
I'm not listening music when I'm working because I love to hear also what I'm doing, and sometimes quality of polishing something is getting also to the hearing sound and to the so it has to sound like this when I'm doing such a process. So most of the time I don't hear music when I'm working, and for the music that I've been listening most of my life, it's blues music. So the place that you're living in is absolutely appropriate with this, with all the Texas blues, and I would say Stevie Ray Vaughan, of course. Yes, this is most of the music that I ever listened to.
Brilliant.
Cool. Well, you look right now. You look like the lights are out on stage, and you're getting ready to hit the stage with your guitar on.
It's the dark moment before a concert. I'm sorry. I'm absolutely sorry for
No, man, this is awesome.
Armand, it doesn't even matter. You know, the only thing that matters is people cannot see your smile in your eyes, but it doesn't matter to us. You know, the conversation is, you know, and heck, this is, as I say to people, this is not the 9 o'clock news.
No. We have no rules here, Armand. Anyway, we like to break the rules. That's why I was placed here, on this planet Earth.
Absolutely.
So let's break those rules, man. Now you're nighttime forest dude.
Yeah. Hey, Armand, I'm going to ask a question. Do you play guitar yourself, or do you play any instrument, or?
So in my workshop, I have a couple of guitars, nice guitars, but I'm a poor player, absolutely poor player. I have a Stratocaster, I have a Les Paul / edition that I bought 10 years ago. So I really love guitars, but I'm a crappy player. I can't even say I'm a player. I don't have a musical ear, so I just love to listen to music, but I'm not a musical guy. I just don't have any rhythm sorry to disappoint this one.
Armand, you're the same as myself. I love guitars. I live for music. I have music from morning to night, with pretty little exception. And I have a couple of lovely little guitars here. And Armand, I know how you feel. I'm afraid to mention it to anybody in case they say, "Oh, play us a song." So I know where you're coming from, my man. I know where you're coming from.
Oh, we can see him now.
Yeah. I found a light bulb in the garden, so just sticking it down.
All right, well, look out for snakes, bro.
Absolutely. Listen, we've gone over our hour and a half, and I just want to really thank you so much for it has been, Armand, it has been a brilliant story. It has been fantastic to look at your super successful SB05 and also discover the stepping stones on the way to SB05. And it's been some fun, hasn't it, Dan?
Yeah, that was. Thank you very much for the interview. That was absolutely great and really funny with all this improvised situation here. But I mean, that will be remembered at the guy in the forest, you know.
We make the next edition watch. Some guy's going to call you up like tomorrow. Can you make a forest edition?
On a tree. But yeah. Oh, man.
Excellent, man. Listen, Armand, we just really appreciate all your insight. You know, there's like I said, there's other people, there's other collectors who maybe, they've been collecting and being part of independent watchmaking for a while, and maybe they're thinking the same thing you're thinking. I'm either coming up on retirement, I'm just had enough, whatever it may be. That there is a way, not to say, man, I didn't do those years in watchmaking school. There's no way, man. There's no way. There is a way to be a huge part of your own dream. There's a way. If you step out of the box,
work hard, work with passion and with the guts, and it goes.
And give back to independent watchmaking. You showed today that everyone you went to, just about every turn and every part of yours. I don't even know if you realize it, but you're helping independent watchmakers because you're using other independent watchmakers to help with your brand. You didn't go to this guy or that guy. And that's beautiful.
Probably my time will come in some years that guys will come in the workshop, and like you do, Mr. Spitz, I will do what I can do for them.
Yeah, there you go.
Brilliant. And there's Roderick, who's a great friend and a great supporter as well. Once you're on the top of the mountain and you're already very close to that, as you say, your day will hopefully come. I think it's incoming. How much more higher would you want to climb? Would you grow your business, or are you happy with what you have there?
I'm really happy to be a single man orchestra, and probably it will stay like this.
Excellent.
I love too much the connection with my customers, so I don't see how I could change that. So I will keep it low, and that's fine, actually. I
think a lot of the more successful independents realize the parameters of what they can do, and to enjoy a work-life balance that they can do, and also to be able to research and design future pieces and that. If you're snowed under that, you cannot. You don't get that head space to do that. But listen, we're going to sign off now. But Armand, don't go away just yet. We're going to say goodbye to everybody, and then once we're gone, we'll say goodbye to yourself, myself, and Dan. So, everyone who has been watching again tonight, another episode of In the Metal. It has been a fantastic story about persistence, about evolution of a brand and a concept and a philosophy, and ultimately success in a pandemic year, and where some of the mainstream brands have been really badly affected. And we don't like to see anybody getting badly affected, Dan, because it's a little universe in its own. And even the big guys who may not care too much for the little guys, they do the advertising and create awareness for watch brands, that people go online and then to start discovering the independent guys. So we don't like to see anybody not doing well. But Armand, to everybody out there, thank you so much for watching it.
Thank you very much, guys.
Wonderful. You wait there, and we will see you all again next week on Thursday evening, and we have another amazing guest lined up for that as well. Thank you so much. Hey, Dan. Your mother's going to smack you in your boy. Folks, thank you so much. We'll see you next time.
Peace out.
All right.